bum, ba, bum. All right, y'all. This is a momentous and exciting day. Last week, a buddy of mine came up to me. He's an OG skater from this little poop stain valley that I live in. And he informed me that he had a flat bar he was getting rid of and wanted to know if I wanted it. So he came to Costco, where he knows I am 5 days a week, told me about it, and I said, absolutely. So, now presenting flat bar. Look at this thing. This thing is perfect. A foot high. How long are you, bud? 7 feet long. This thing is amazing. This is everything I could have wanted. To mark this momentous occasion, I want to take this time to teach you guys some of your first flat bar tricks. Today we're going to learn backside board slide and frontside board slide. Let's do it. If you're not unlike me when I was beginning skateboarding, rails were some of the scariest things that I ever learned. It took me so long. I was very scared. A lot of my initial board slides looked a little something like this. Ugh. And then my backside ones, ugh, so good. Sometimes I'd get in so bad, I'd be dangling. When you're doing it on purpose, it's called a bag lady. When you're doing it like I was, it's called pathetic. So I want to take today and give you guys I'm not going to sit on this, I just put wax on it. I want to give you guys a general idea on how you can approach board slides to make them less scary, build your confidence, and get comfortable standing on your skateboard on top of something. Give you guys a few fundamental keys now. Today I want to help you guys build up the fundamentals so you can approach board slides on rails such as this and not be scared, not wonder what the heck's going to happen when you finally commit. I want to give you all the tools you need to prepare for what can go wrong, get through it, and roll away from your first couple board slides. Let's do this. At this point in your skateboarding, you should be at least somewhat confident in your ability to get your board up here. When your tail is touching the ground, that's the point at which the ollie is going to initiate. And if you compare where the wheels are to the rail, it means I would have to ollie a whopping 1 inch to get my front trucks up there so that my board is on. So don't let the ollie scare you. The ollie is not the difficult part. If you are sure in your mind that you're allowing the board to come up and anticipate it, putting your foot over here, you really don't have too much to fear. Maybe you're not ready to just start throwing yourself at it. You want to get over the fear of getting into the board slide and holding it for a second. And that's exactly what I would recommend before you start trying to slide it. Just try to get up there and stand for a second. Let's get over that first barrier. One of the first things you might want to do if you're like myself and overwaxed it, get yourself a handful of grass, rub that on there. The grass can help absorb some of the oils and the wax and make this thing actually skatable. Fantastic. The first step is getting up. I want you to jump up there. Once you're on there, go ahead and jump off. Get that initial feeling down. We're fine. And honestly, no matter where you jump on the rail, you don't have to try it towards the end. Even if you're in the middle, it's very easy to step off. Don't get in your head about it too much. It's fine. Now you'll notice when you're up in the board slide, I'm not standing stiff. Not standing like this. Ugh. You want to have your knees bent a little bit to be able to counteract any teeter-totter motion that your board's going to want to do. If you try to set your board here without you on it, it wants to teeter. It's going to want to do that when you're up there too, so by having your knees bent, you can counteract any of that. At this point you've determined you're pretty sure you can get up there. You stood on it for a second before jumping off. You're feeling somewhat confident. Now your first couple board sides, if you have a rail like this, where the ends stick out a good foot before the support, you're going to want to try to get on either right before that support or right at it. Because if you come to the very end, you're going to lift the rail up, and you don't want that. That's going to make it a little bit harder for you to roll away. So initially we're going to come on, we're going to come at a bit of an angle, By coming at an angle, we don't have to focus as much about doing a 90. We're gonna come at an angle, ollie, and just ever so slightly turn. And when we're in the board side, it's gonna wanna continue that rotation. We're gonna bring it out to the end and see if we can get a little board tap. And at this point, I will admit it might be a little bit intimidating, but if you've been able to keep up with the steps thus far, this is totally in your realm of possibilities. Okay. We got in, we came to the end, and we were a little bit sideways. Let's go ahead and get in a couple more. We're gonna focus on rotating out after. Okay. We're a little stiff up in there, so we're gonna try to stay loose in our legs so that we can better keep our balance and prepare to come out. All right, so there's your first little ones. Let's go ahead and break it down and see what's really happening. All right, as you guys know, I do love me some slow motion, and I think it's a great way to really teach the trick, really show you what's going on, because skateboarding happens fast, and if you're not prepared for it, you won't gather anything from watching it. So by slowing it down here, we're gonna take a look at the minute details that make the board slide happen and see how you can implement that. So you see the ollies happening and a very slight turn. I'm putting a little more pressure on my back foot to keep the board from wanting to tip over the rail and land on the other side. I'm also keeping my upper body slightly twisted to the right so that I'm prepared to turn my board the opposite direction to come back out. I'm gonna do this once more for you guys. Now coming towards the camera, you see I ollie, do a slight turn up in the board side. When I get to the end, I'm putting a little bit of weight on the back truck, and momentum is then bringing me back to forward, not really having to think about my shoulders too much. And when you can do it like this, it truly becomes an easy and fun trick. Let's say that you're now comfortable getting into it, but coming out can be a whole different wormhole. So when you're in the board side, there's not much you can do to turn your board. If you try, you're gonna be swinging like crazy, and anything you do is gonna throw you off balance. When you're wanting to turn out of the board side, you have to initiate that turn with your shoulders, and your lower body will follow. Especially on a rail like this that's overly waxed because I'm stupid. You're gonna initiate that turn with your shoulders, and your lower body is going to follow. Let me try to demonstrate that. Yeah, that was great. That was a great demonstration, you ding dong. Let me hit about 14 rocks first. When I'm up there, you see that I kind of keep my shoulders in the same spot, and when I'm coming out, I'm transferring that twisting motion down to my feet, and that allows me to come out. You do have to be careful. Some people, when they get into a board slide, their shoulders want to keep turning this way. And if you try to come out that way, you're going to end up in something like this. And that's going to lead to you on your butt crying for mommy. We don't want that. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now let's go ahead and say that you're able to do board slides. You're pretty good at them, but you really just want to add a little something extra to them. I want to teach you guys how to do a little nollie out of a board slide to really style it out and make it look and feel really cool. Now, if any of you guys watch Leon Paxton at all on YouTube, I really enjoy watching that guy. He has a very nice variety of tricks, skates some crazy boards, and just has a really good smooth style, great pop, really fun to watch. And one thing I found when watching him, he doesn't do just regular board slides. No, anytime that dude gets into a board slide, he's pushing the board a little bit this way and doing a little nollie pop out, and I love that. The way to get that little style at the end, the skateboard's like a teeter-totter. If you have it in the middle, any motion's just gonna act the same on the other side. When you're in the board side, if you can shimmy it over a little bit, that's gonna give you a little bit of leverage so you can really get that little pop out. I'm gonna try to demonstrate that now. See right there, I tried to do it from roughly the middle. I need to be shimmied this way a little bit. Give the board the leverage it needs to rise up. This next trick I'm gonna teach you, I didn't learn until quite a bit later in my skateboarding. And that one's the frontside board slide. This one can seem really scary because in essence you are sliding backwards and it'll feel a little bit blind. But I'm gonna show you how I approached the trick and how I've turned it to being a trick that's much more comfortable than a backside board slide for me. Let's do this. A lot of the times when you first see people learning frontside board slides, they get in like this and then come out. And that's fine for the sake of learning. If you're getting into it, you're sliding your board, coming out, that's still technically a frontside board slide. But the way I learned it, I think worked out really well for me, and I hope that my method can give you a little bit of insight on how you can approach this trick as well. I'm gonna go ahead and start by just doing a frontside board slide. And from there, I'll break it down and show you how I do that. All right, right now I want to film a slow motion frontside board slide for you guys and see if I can break it down there for you and see if that can give you any insight into the trick, how I approach it, and what I feel is a very safe and comfortable way.
Now, while I said frontside board slides can be scary, the scariest part is just knowing where to look. I find myself when doing frontside board slides, I'm moving my front arm out of the way because if I don't, it would be right in my line of sight to watch my board. So if you watch a lot of people's front arms when doing frontside board slides or backside lip slides, everyone has their own way of getting that arm out of the way so they can see down to their board. And one thing you're doing by moving your arm in such a way, you're also helping wind up for the turn out. That's something that I tend to mess up more often than not, and it really throws me off. But once I get over that, my arm's out of the way, and by having it raised above my head to the left like that, I can then unwind and put it back down like you see there. And that twisting motion allows me to come out to regular much easier. And while the style I do it with might not be the most awesome thing, it helps me do them solidly. I come out fairly clean, and I'm really pleased with the progress I've made with them. And although we have a different way of looking at tricks, I hope that this little slow-mo section can help you dial in your frontside board slides.
One big difference between backside and frontside board slide is that frontside board slide is gonna call for a lot more upper body counter movement. When you get into a frontside board slide, the second you get into the frontside board slide, that tiny bit of momentum is gonna wanna keep carrying you this way. Some people, when they first learn front boards, they take it to fakie, and that's fine, but I feel like that really misses the aspect of controlling the frontside board slide so you can really feel like you have it and not feel like when you get on there, it's a roll of the dice. Oh. So when you're getting into that trick, your upper body is going to be like this when you're up there, and when you're coming out, you're almost looking back. Your head's staying forward, but you're turning your shoulders as if you were facing backwards to counteract the movement. Turning like this to turn the board that way. It's a twisting motion. You really got to be warmed up before you start throwing this one because you don't want to injure yourself. One thing I do that maybe not everyone does is when I'm coming out of the board slide, I tend to get much closer to my back truck, and when I do that, it allows me to have a little bit of a hop out. And I like that. It ensures that I'm not gonna clip here and flip over or come out like this and hit there. By getting my back truck a little closer to the rail, gives me the leverage I need and ensures that nothing weird is gonna happen when I'm trying to come out. Worst case scenario, I'll land, slip out. And I like that. When I get to the end, I'm turning, stop my body from rotating backside. Peace out, God bless. Here's your verse for the day.
Hebrews 3:13. But encourage one another daily as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness.
See you in the next one.